Imagine a world where people walk around with their eyes wide open, yet they see nothing. They stumble through life not because they lack sight, but because they lack vision. We live in such a world today. A world where kindness has been confused with complacency, where people would rather be gentle in their speech than truthful in their intentions. Perception is not merely a passive process of receiving information from the world. It is the very lens through which we create our reality. Everything we experience, every interaction we have, and every thought we entertain is filtered through the unique lens of our perception. This lens is colored by our beliefs, past experiences, and the expectations we hold about ourselves and the world. It is through this lens that we interpret the world, and in doing so, we shape the reality we experience. When we say that perception shapes reality, we mean that what we perceive as true becomes true for us. Our thoughts and beliefs have a profound impact on how we experience the world. If we believe that the world is a harsh and unforgiving place, we will see evidence of this belief in our everyday experiences. Conversely, if we believe that the world is full of opportunities and kindness, we will find evidence to support this view as well. The key here is to understand that our perception is not a fixed, unchangeable truth. It is malleable and can be altered by changing our thoughts and beliefs. Our perceptions are also influenced by the collective beliefs of society. The norms, values, and ideologies that dominate our culture shape the way we view the world and ourselves. These collective perceptions can be powerful, often shaping our reality in ways we are not even aware of. For example, if society holds the belief that success is defined by material wealth, we may find ourselves striving for financial success, even if it does not align with our true values. We may perceive our self-worth through the lens of this societal belief, shaping our reality in a way that may not be fulfilling or authentic to us. Perception also plays a crucial role in our relationships with others. How we perceive another person often determines how we interact with them. If we perceive someone as trustworthy, we are more likely to open up to them and form a deeper connection. On the other hand, if we perceive someone as untrustworthy, we may keep our distance, and this perception can influence the dynamics of the relationship. It is important to recognize that our perceptions of others are often projections of our own inner beliefs and insecurities. By becoming aware of these projections, we can begin to see others more clearly and interact with them in a more authentic and compassionate way. The power of perception extends to our ability to create change in our lives. When we shift our perception, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and opportunities. For example, if we perceive a challenging situation as an opportunity for growth rather than a setback, we are more likely to find solutions and move forward with a positive attitude. This shift in perception can transform a difficult experience into a valuable lesson, shaping our reality in a way that promotes personal growth and resilience. However, the power of perception can also work against us if we are not mindful of it. Negative or limiting beliefs can cloud our perception, leading us to create a reality that is filled with obstacles and limitations. These beliefs can create a self-fulfilling prophecy, where our expectations shape our experiences in a way that reinforces the original belief. For example, if we believe that we are not good enough, we may unconsciously sabotage efforts, creating a reality where we consistently fall short of our goals. The key to harnessing the power of perception is awareness. By becoming aware of our thoughts and beliefs, we can begin to consciously shape our perception in a way that aligns with our true desires and values. This requires a willingness to question our assumptions, challenge our beliefs, and be open to new ways of seeing the world. It also requires a commitment to self-reflection and personal growth, as our perception is often influenced by unresolved issues from our past. Ultimately, perception is the foundation upon which our reality is built. By cultivating a positive and empowered perception, we can create a reality that is filled with possibility, growth, and fulfillment. This does not mean ignoring the challenges and difficulties that life presents, but rather choosing to see them as opportunities for learning and transformation. In this way, we become the creators of our reality, shaping our experiences in a way that reflects our highest potential. Kindness is often lauded as one of the most virtuous qualities a person can possess. It is associated with compassion, empathy, and a genuine concern for the well-being of others. However, there is a fine line between true kindness and self-deception. In our desire to be kind, we can sometimes fall into the trap of self-deception, where we avoid uncomfortable truths or compromise our own values in the name of being nice. This form of kindness is not genuine. It is a form of avoidance that ultimately does more harm than good. At the heart of this issue is the misconception that kindness means always being agreeable and avoiding conflict. Many of us have been taught that being kind means keeping the peace, even if it means suppressing our true feelings or ignoring behaviors that are harmful to ourselves or others. We might avoid speaking up when we see something wrong because we don't want to upset anyone. We might agree with others to avoid confrontation, even when we know deep down that we don't truly believe what we're saying. This is not true kindness, it is self-deception. Self-deception can manifest in various ways. For instance, we might convince ourselves that by not addressing a problem, we are being kind to the other person involved. We might think that by avoiding a difficult conversation, we are sparing their feelings. However, this is often not the case. In reality, we are avoiding our own discomfort, and in doing so, we are allowing the problem to persist. This kind of avoidance can lead to resentment, misunderstandings, and a breakdown in communication. True kindness, on the other hand, involves honesty and integrity. It means being willing to have difficult conversations when necessary, even if they are uncomfortable. It means being willing to set boundaries when needed, even if it means disappointing someone. True kindness is rooted in a genuine concern for the well-being of others, but it also includes a commitment to truth and authenticity. It is about finding the balance between compassion and honesty. When we deceive ourselves in the name of kindness, we are not only doing a disservice to others, but we are also doing a disservice to ourselves. Self-deception can prevent us from living authentically and can lead to a sense of inner conflict. We may feel that we are being pulled in different directions, torn between our desire to be kind and our need to be true to ourselves. This inner conflict can create stress, anxiety, and a sense of dissatisfaction with our lives. Moreover, when we are not honest with ourselves, we are not able to be fully present in our relationships. We may find ourselves engaging in superficial interactions, avoiding deeper connections, because we are afraid of what might come to the surface. This can lead to a sense of isolation and loneliness, as we are not able to truly connect with others on a meaningful level. To avoid self-deception in the name of kindness, we must cultivate self-awareness and a commitment to truth. This means being willing to look honestly at our own motivations and behaviors. Are we being kind because we genuinely care about the other person, or are we being kind because we want to avoid our own discomfort? Are we avoiding difficult conversations because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings, or because we are afraid of how they might react? It also means being willing to take responsibility for our actions. If we find ourselves avoiding a difficult conversation or compromising our values in the name of kindness, we must be willing to acknowledge this and make a change. This might mean having a difficult conversation, setting a boundary, or even letting go of a relationship that is no longer healthy. True kindness requires courage. It requires the courage to be honest, even when it is difficult. It requires the courage to be true to ourselves, even when it means disappointing others. And it requires the courage to stand up for what is right, even when it is not the easy or popular thing to do. Kindness is not about avoiding conflict or keeping the peace at all costs. It is about being authentic, compassionate, and true to ourselves. It is about being willing to confront uncomfortable truths and take action when necessary. This is the kind of kindness that leads to genuine connection, personal growth, and a deeper sense of fulfillment in our lives. Blindness, in its metaphorical sense, is a condition that many people live without even realizing it. It is a state where individuals are unable to see the truth of their own existence, the possibilities that lie before them, or the realities of the world around them. This blindness is not caused by a lack of physical sight, but by a lack of awareness, understanding, and perception. It is an illusion that is created by our beliefs, fears, and the conditioning of society, and it can prevent us from living our lives to the fullest potential. The illusion of blindness often begins with the beliefs that we hold about ourselves and the world. These beliefs are usually formed in childhood and are reinforced by the people around us, our experiences, and the culture in which we live. They become so ingrained in our psyche that we accept them as truth without question. For example, if a child is constantly told that they are not good enough, they may grow up believing that they are incapable of achieving success, no matter how hard they try. This belief becomes a lens through which they see the world, and it shapes their reality in a way that limits their potential. Similarly, societal conditioning plays a significant role in creating the illusion of blindness. From a young age, we are taught to conform to certain norms and expectations. We are told what is acceptable behavior, what success looks like, and how we should live our lives. These societal norms can create a narrow view of what is possible, blinding us to the many other paths we could take. For instance, the belief that success is defined by material wealth can lead people to pursue careers and lifestyles that are not truly fulfilling, simply because they believe it is the only way to be successful. Fear is another powerful force that contributes to the illusion of blindness. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, these are all common fears that can keep us from seeing the truth of our own potential. When we are afraid, we tend to focus on the potential negative outcomes of our actions rather than the possibilities that exist. This fear can keep us stuck in situations that are not serving us, simply because we are too afraid to take a risk and explore something new. The illusion of blindness can also manifest in our relationships with others. We may be blind to the true nature of our relationships, either because we are unwilling to see the flaws and shortcomings, or because we are too caught up in our own expectations and desires. This blindness can lead to misunderstandings, conflicts, and even the breakdown of relationships. It can prevent us from truly connecting with others and experiencing the depth of love and companionship that is possible. However, the illusion of blindness is just that, an illusion. It is not a permanent condition, and it can be overcome with awareness and a willingness to see things as they truly are. The first step in overcoming this illusion is to recognize that it exists. We must be willing to question our beliefs, our fears, and the conditioning that has shaped our perception of the world. This requires a level of self-reflection and honesty that can be uncomfortable, but it is essential for growth and transformation. Once we have recognized the illusion of blindness, we can begin to take steps to see beyond it. This might involve challenging our limiting beliefs, facing our fears, and exploring new possibilities that we had not previously considered. It might mean stepping outside of our comfort zone and taking risks in order to discover what is truly possible. It might also involve seeking out new experiences, learning new things, and surrounding ourselves with people who challenge us to see the world in a different way. One of the most powerful tools for overcoming the illusion of blindness is awareness. When we are aware of our thoughts, beliefs, and fears, we can begin to see how they are shaping our reality. We can start to identify the ways in which we are limiting ourselves and take steps to change those patterns. Awareness allows us to see beyond the surface level of our experiences and understand the deeper truths that lie beneath. Another important tool is self-compassion. As we begin to see the ways in which we have been blind, it is important to be gentle with ourselves. Overcoming the illusion of blindness is not an easy process, and it can be painful to confront the ways in which we have limited ourselves. Self-compassion allows us to approach this process with kindness and understanding rather than judgment and criticism. Ultimately, the illusion of blindness is a barrier that keeps us from living our lives to the fullest. It prevents us from seeing the truth of our own potential, the possibilities that exist in the world, and the depth of connection that is possible in our relationships. By recognizing this illusion and taking steps to overcome it, we can begin to live more authentically, more fully, and more in alignment with our true selves. Awareness is a powerful and transformative force. It is the ability to observe our thoughts, feelings, and actions without judgment, and to understand the impact they have on our lives and the world around us. When we cultivate awareness, we gain the ability to see beyond the surface level of our experiences and to understand the deeper truths that shape our reality. This awareness allows us to make conscious choices that align with our true desires and values, rather than being driven by unconscious patterns and beliefs. At its core, awareness is about presence. It is about being fully present in the moment, rather than being lost in thoughts about the past or the future. When we are present, we are able to see things as they truly are, rather than through the lens of our conditioning or expectations. This presence allows us to connect more deeply with ourselves, others, and the world around us. It is through this connection that we can begin to understand the interconnectedness of all things and the impact of our actions on the larger whole. One of the most important aspects of awareness is self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to observe our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors with a sense of curiosity and openness. It involves recognizing our patterns, understanding our motivations, and being honest with ourselves about our strengths and weaknesses. This self-awareness allows us to make conscious choices that are in alignment with our true values and desires, rather than being driven by unconscious habits and conditioning. Self-awareness also involves recognizing our blind spots, the areas of our lives where we are not fully aware of our thoughts, feelings, or behaviors. These blind spots can be areas where we are stuck in limiting beliefs, where we are avoiding uncomfortable truths, or where we are not fully living in alignment with our values. By bringing awareness to these blind spots, we can begin to make changes that lead to greater fulfillment and authenticity. Another important aspect of awareness is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment with a sense of curiosity and non-judgment. It involves observing our thoughts, feelings, and sensations as they arise, without getting caught up in them or trying to change them. This practice allows us to develop a deeper understanding of our inner experience and to respond to it in a more conscious and intentional way. Mindfulness can also help us develop greater awareness of the world around us. By paying attention to the details of our environment, we can begin to see the interconnectedness of all things and the impact of our actions on the larger whole. This awareness can lead to a greater sense of responsibility and a desire to make choices that are in alignment with our values and the well-being of the planet. The power of awareness also extends to our relationships with others. When we are aware of our own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, we are better able to understand and empathize with the experiences of others. This awareness allows us to connect more deeply with others and to respond to their needs in a more compassionate and authentic way. It also allows us to recognize the impact of our actions on others and to make choices that are in alignment with our values and the well-being of the larger community. Awareness is also a powerful tool for personal growth and transformation. When we are aware of our patterns and blind spots, we can begin to make conscious changes that lead to greater fulfillment and authenticity. This might involve letting go of old habits that no longer serve us, challenging limiting beliefs, or stepping outside of our comfort zone to explore new possibilities. The process of personal growth is not always easy, but it is through awareness that we gain the clarity and courage to make the changes that lead to a more fulfilling and authentic life. The power of awareness also lies in its ability to create change in the world. When we are aware of the impact of our actions on the larger whole, we can make choices that contribute to the well-being of the planet and all living beings. This awareness can lead to a greater sense of responsibility and a desire to take action in alignment with our values. Whether it is through small, everyday choices or larger acts of activism, awareness allows us to be conscious creators of the world we wish to see. Ultimately, awareness is the foundation of a conscious and intentional life. It allows us to see beyond the surface level of our experiences and to understand the deeper truths that shape our reality. It is through awareness that we gain the clarity and courage to make choices that are in alignment with our true desires and values. This awareness allows us to live more fully, more authentically, and more in harmony with the world around us. Self-reflection is a powerful tool for personal growth and transformation. It is the process of looking inward and examining our thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and motivations. Through self-reflection, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. This understanding allows us to make conscious choices that are in alignment with our true desires and values, rather than being driven by unconscious patterns and conditioning. At its core, self-reflection is about self-awareness. It involves taking the time to observe our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors with a sense of curiosity and openness. This observation allows us to recognize our patterns, understand our motivations, and be honest with ourselves about our strengths and weaknesses. Self-reflection requires a willingness to look at ourselves honestly, without judgment or criticism. It is through this honest self-examination that we can begin to make changes that lead to greater fulfillment and authenticity. One of the most important aspects of self-reflection is the ability to recognize our patterns. These patterns are the habitual ways in which we think, feel, and behave in response to certain situations. They are often formed in childhood and are reinforced by our experiences and the people around us. For example, if we were taught as children that we must always be polite and accommodating, we may develop a pattern of people pleasing that persists into adulthood. This pattern may lead us to avoid conflict, suppress our true feelings, and put others' needs before our own. By recognizing our patterns through self-reflection, we can begin to make conscious choices that break free from these habitual ways of being. This might involve challenging our beliefs, facing our fears, and exploring new ways of thinking and behaving. For example, if we recognize a pattern of people-pleasing, we might begin to practice setting boundaries, expressing our true feelings, and prioritizing our own needs. This process of breaking free from old patterns is not always easy, but it is essential for personal growth and transformation. Self-reflection also involves understanding our motivations. Our motivations are the driving forces behind our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. They are often influenced by our beliefs, desires, and fears. By examining our motivations through self-reflection, we can begin to understand why we do what we do and make conscious choices that are in alignment with our true values and desires. For example, if we find ourselves constantly seeking approval from others, we might reflect on the underlying motivation for this behavior. Are we seeking approval because we genuinely value the opinions of others, or are we motivated by a fear of rejection or a need for validation? By understanding our motivations, we can begin to make choices that are more authentic and fulfilling. Another important aspect of self-reflection is the ability to be honest with ourselves about our strengths and weaknesses. This honesty requires a willingness to look at ourselves without judgment or criticism. It involves acknowledging the areas where we excel, as well as the areas where we struggle. This self-honesty allows us to make choices that are in alignment with our true abilities and potential, rather than being driven by unrealistic expectations or a desire to please others. It also allows us to recognize the areas where we need to grow and make conscious efforts to develop these areas. Self-reflection also involves examining our relationships with others. Our relationships are often mirrors that reflect our own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. By examining our relationships through self-reflection, we can gain insights into our own patterns and motivations. For example, if we find ourselves in a pattern of unhealthy relationships, we might reflect on the underlying beliefs and fears that are driving this pattern. Are we choosing partners who reinforce our negative beliefs about ourselves, or are we avoiding relationships altogether out of fear of vulnerability? By examining our relationships through self-reflection, we can begin to make conscious choices that lead to healthier and more fulfilling connections with others. The process of self-reflection is not always easy. It requires a willingness to look at ourselves honestly and to confront the uncomfortable truths that may arise. It also requires a commitment to personal growth and a willingness to make changes in our lives. However, the rewards of self-reflection are profound. Through this process, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves, our motivations, and our place in the world. This understanding allows us to live more authentically, more fully, and more in alignment with our true desires and values. Self-reflection is also a powerful tool for creating change in the world. When we are aware of our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, we can make conscious choices that contribute to the well-being of the larger whole. This might involve letting go of old habits that no longer serve us, challenging limiting beliefs, or taking action in alignment with our values. The process of self-reflection allows us to be conscious creators of our own lives and the world around us. Ultimately, self-reflection is a journey of self-discovery. It is a process of looking inward, examining our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and gaining a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. Through this process, we can begin to live more authentically, more fully, and more in alignment with our true desires and values. This self-awareness allows us to make conscious choices that lead to greater fulfillment, personal growth, and a deeper sense of connection with ourselves and the world around us. Breaking free from social norms is a courageous and transformative journey that requires us to question the beliefs, expectations, and behaviors that society has ingrained in us from a young age. Social norms are the unwritten rules that govern our behavior in society, shaping everything from the way we dress to the way we think, and even the way we perceive ourselves and others. These norms are often so deeply embedded in our consciousness that we follow them without even realizing it. However, while social norms can provide a sense of order and predictability, they can also be limiting and stifling, preventing us from living authentically and fully expressing our true selves. To break free from social norms, the first step is to develop an awareness of the norms that are influencing us. This requires us to take a step back and critically examine the beliefs and behaviors that we have been taught to accept as normal or appropriate. For example, we might begin to question the societal expectation that success is defined by material wealth and status, or that certain roles and behaviors are reserved for specific genders. By identifying the social norms that are shaping our lives, we can begin to see how they may be limiting our potential and preventing us from living in alignment with our true values and desires. Once we have developed this awareness, the next step is to challenge these norms. Challenging social norms requires us to confront the fear of judgment, rejection, or ostracism that often accompanies nonconformity. Society tends to reward conformity and punish those who deviate from the norm, which can make the prospect of breaking free from these norms intimidating. However, it is important to remember that the fear of judgment is often based on the illusion that others' opinions define our worth. In reality, our true worth is inherent and not dependent on the approval or acceptance of others. Challenging social norms also involves questioning the validity and relevance of these norms in our own lives. We must ask ourselves whether the beliefs and behaviors that society promotes are truly aligned with our own values and desires, or whether we are simply following them out of habit or fear. For example, we might question the societal pressure to pursue a traditional career path, even if it does not align with our passions or interests. By questioning the validity of these norms, we can begin to make conscious choices that are in alignment with our true selves, rather than simply following the path that society has laid out for us. Breaking free from social norms also requires us to embrace our individuality. Society often promotes the idea that we should conform to certain standards of behavior, appearance, and achievement in order to be accepted and valued. However, true fulfillment comes from embracing our unique qualities and expressing ourselves authentically, rather than trying to fit into a mold that does not reflect who we truly are. Embracing our individuality means recognizing that we each have our own unique gifts, talents, and perspectives, and that these differences are what make us valuable and worthy. It also means accepting that we may not always fit in with societal expectations, and that this is not only okay, but something to be celebrated. In embracing our individuality, we must also be willing to take risks and step outside of our comfort zones. Breaking free from social norms often requires us to venture into the unknown and to explore new possibilities that we may have previously dismissed unrealistic or unattainable. This might involve pursuing a career or lifestyle that is unconventional or unpopular, or it might mean challenging deeply held beliefs and traditions within our families or communities. Taking these risks can be frightening, but it is also necessary for personal growth and self-discovery. By stepping outside of our comfort zones, we open ourselves up to new experiences, perspectives, and opportunities that can lead to greater fulfillment and authenticity. Another important aspect of breaking free from social norms is the ability to resist the pressure to conform. Society exerts a powerful influence on our behavior, and the pressure to conform can be overwhelming at times. However, it is important to remember that we have the power to choose how we respond to this pressure. We can choose to conform and follow the path that society has laid out for us, or we can choose to forge our own path and live in alignment with our true values and desires. Resisting the pressure to conform requires us to be strong in our convictions and to have confidence in our own choices, even in the face of criticism or opposition. In resisting the pressure to conform, it is also important to surround ourselves with supportive and like-minded individuals who encourage us to be our authentic selves. Breaking free from social norms can be a lonely journey, especially if we feel isolated or misunderstood by those around us. However, by seeking out a community of individuals who share our values and beliefs, we can find the support and encouragement we need to stay true to ourselves. This community can provide a sense of belonging and connection, even as we navigate the challenges of nonconformity. Breaking free from social norms also involves embracing the uncertainty and unpredictability that comes with living an authentic life. Social norms provide a sense of order and predictability, but they can also create a false sense of security. When we break free from these norms, we may find ourselves in uncharted territory, facing unknown challenges and opportunities. However, it is in this uncertainty that we have the greatest potential for growth and transformation. By embracing the unknown and being open to new experiences, we can discover new aspects of ourselves and our potential that we may not have otherwise explored. Breaking free from social norms requires us to trust ourselves and our intuition. Society often teaches us to rely on external validation and approval to guide our decisions, but true fulfillment comes from trusting our own inner wisdom and following our own path. This requires us to tune out the noise of societal expectations and to listen to our own inner voice. By trusting ourselves, we can make choices that are in alignment with our true desires and values, rather than being driven by the expectations of others. Breaking free from social norms is a challenging but ultimately liberating process. It requires us to develop an awareness of the norms that are shaping our lives, to challenge these norms, and to embrace our individuality. It involves taking risks, resisting the pressure to conform, and embracing the uncertainty and unpredictability that comes with living an authentic life. Most importantly, it requires us to trust ourselves and our intuition, and to make choices that are in alignment with our true values and desires. By breaking free from social norms, we can live more authentically, more fully, and more in alignment with our true selves. Manifesting true intentions is the art of bringing our deepest desires and authentic goals into reality. This process is not merely about wishful thinking or hoping for a better future, but involves aligning our thoughts, emotions, actions, and beliefs with our true intentions. To manifest what we truly want, we must first clarify our desires, understand the deeper motivations behind them, and then consistently act in ways that bring those desires into existence. This journey requires self-awareness, unwavering focus, and a deep belief in our ability to create the life we envision. The first step in manifesting true intentions is gaining clarity about what we genuinely desire. Often we find ourselves pursuing goals that have been shaped by societal expectations, external pressures, or the desire to please others rather than what we truly want. To manifest our true intentions, we must strip away these external influences and connect with our inner desires. This requires deep self-reflection and honesty with ourselves. We must ask ourselves what we truly want, not what we think we should want, and be willing to listen to the answers that arise from within. Once we have gained clarity about our true desires, the next step is to understand the motivations behind these desires. Manifesting is not just about the outcome, but also about the energy and intention that drive us toward that outcome. Are our desires coming from a place of love, passion, and authenticity, or are they driven by fear, insecurity, or the need for validation? Understanding our motivations is crucial because the energy behind our intentions will shape the outcome. If we are motivated by fear or lack, we may manifest more of that energy into our lives. However, if our intentions are rooted in love, abundance, and a genuine desire to grow and contribute, we are more likely to manifest positive and fulfilling outcomes. Another key aspect of manifesting true intentions is the alignment of our thoughts, emotions, and actions with our desires. It is not enough to simply wish for something to happen. We must also think, feel, and act in ways that support the manifestation of our desires. This means cultivating a mindset of positivity, possibility, and belief in our ability to create the life we want. Our thoughts are powerful tools for manifestation, and by focusing on what we want rather than what we fear or lack, we can begin to attract those things into our lives. In addition to our thoughts, our emotions play a significant role in the manifestation process. Emotions are powerful energy that can either attract or repel the outcomes we desire. When we feel positive emotions such as joy, gratitude, and excitement about our intentions, we align ourselves with the energy of those outcomes. On the other hand, if we are consumed by negative emotions such as doubt, fear, or frustration, we may block the manifestation of our desires. To manifest true intentions, it is important to cultivate positive emotions and to practice gratitude and then visualization techniques that help us to feel as if our desires have already been fulfilled. Actions are the final and most tangible component of manifesting true intentions. Our actions must be consistent with our desires and aligned with the energy we want to create. This means taking inspired and intentional steps toward our goals, even when the path is not entirely clear. It also means being willing to take risks, to step outside of our comfort zones, and to make choices that are in alignment with our true intentions, even when they may be difficult or unpopular. Manifestation is not a passive process. It requires us to actively participate in the creation of our reality by taking deliberate and purposeful actions. Another important aspect of manifesting true intentions is the practice of letting go. While it is important to have clear desires and to take action toward them, it is equally important to release attachment to specific outcomes. This may seem counterintuitive, but attachment to specific outcomes can create resistance and block the manifestation process. When we are overly attached to a particular outcome, we may become fixated on how things should unfold rather than being open to the infinite possibilities that the universe can offer. Letting go means trusting that the universe will bring us what is truly in alignment with our highest good, even if it doesn't look exactly the way we imagined. It also means releasing the need to control every aspect of the manifestation process and allowing things to unfold in their own time and way. Trust is a crucial element in manifesting true intentions. We must trust in ourselves in the process and in the universe's ability to bring our desires to fruition. This trust requires us to have faith in the unseen and to believe that we are deserving and capable of receiving what we desire. It also requires us to trust that the universe is always working in our favor, even when things don't seem to be going as planned. Trusting the process allows us to remain patient and positive, even in the face of challenges or delays. Patience is another essential quality in the manifestation process. Manifestation does not always happen overnight, and it can be easy to become discouraged if our desires do not materialize as quickly as we would like. However, patience is key to maintaining a positive mindset and staying aligned with our true intentions. It is important to remember that manifestation is a process that unfolds in its own time, and that sometimes delays or obstacles are simply opportunities for growth and learning. By remaining patient and trusting in the process, we can continue to take inspired action toward our goals without becoming discouraged or giving up. Manifesting true intention is a process that requires clarity, alignment, trust, patience, gratitude, and openness. It is about connecting with our deepest desires, understanding the motivations behind them, and aligning our thoughts, emotions, and actions with those desires. It also requires us to let go of attachment to specific outcomes, trust in the process, and remain open to receiving what we desire. By practicing these principles, we can become conscious creators of our reality and manifest the life we truly want. Passive kindness, though seemingly harmless and even virtuous, carries with it a hidden danger that can have significant consequences for both the individual and the broader community. At first glance, passive kindness appears to be a positive trait, a way of maintaining peace, avoiding conflict, and ensuring that everyone gets along. It involves a form of kindness that is often passive, understated, or even submissive, where we prioritize the comfort of others over our own needs, values, or principles. However, this kind of kindness, when left unchecked, can lead to a variety of issues, including enabling harmful behaviors, fostering resentment, and undermining our own sense of self-worth. One of the primary dangers of passive kindness is that it can enable and perpetuate unhealthy or harmful behaviors in others. When we consistently respond to others with passive kindness, saying yes when we mean no, avoiding confrontation, or allowing others to take advantage of our generosity, we inadvertently reinforce those behaviors. For example, if we are always accommodating to someone who regularly disrespects our boundaries, we teach them that their behavior is acceptable and that there are no consequences for their actions. This not only harms us, but also does a disservice to the other person, as it prevents them from learning and growing from their mistakes. Over time, this dynamic can create a toxic environment where harmful behaviors are normalized and continue to thrive unchecked. Passive kindness also has the potential to foster resentment within ourselves. When we continually put others' needs and desires ahead of our own, we may begin to feel unappreciated, undervalued, or taken for granted. This is especially true when our acts of kindness go unrecognized or are met with a lack of reciprocity. The more we suppress our own needs and desires in favor of others, the more we may begin to harbor feelings of resentment and frustration. These feelings can build up over time, leading to emotional exhaustion, burnout, or even outbursts of anger or resentment. What started as an attempt to be kind and accommodating can ultimately result in negative emotions that harm both ourselves and our relationships. Furthermore, passive kindness can undermine our own sense of self-worth and self-respect. When we habitually prioritize the needs and desires of others over our own, we send a message to ourselves that our own needs are less important or even insignificant. This can lead to a diminished sense of self-worth, as we begin to see ourselves as mere facilitators of others' happiness, rather than individuals with our own needs, desires, and boundaries. Over time, this can erode our self-esteem and make it more difficult for us to assert ourselves, set boundaries, or pursue our own goals and dreams. In this way, passive kindness can trap us in a cycle of self-neglect and self-sacrifice that ultimately undermines our own well-being. Another danger of passive kindness is that it can create a false sense of harmony or peace. While passive kindness may help to avoid immediate conflicts or discomfort, it often fails to address the underlying issues or tensions that may be present in a relationship or situation. For example, if we consistently avoid difficult conversations or fail to assert our own needs in the name of kindness, we may create a superficial sense of peace, while deeper issues go unresolved. This can lead to a buildup of unresolved conflicts, misunderstandings, or unmet needs that can eventually erupt in more significant and damaging ways. By prioritizing passive kindness over honest communication and healthy conflict resolution, we may be sacrificing long-term harmony for short-term comfort. Moreover, passive kindness can also have broader societal implications. When we collectively engage in passive kindness, failing to speak out against injustice, avoiding confrontation with harmful systems or behaviors, or prioritizing social harmony over truth and integrity, we contribute to the perpetuation of systemic issues. For example, in the face of social injustices, such as racism, sexism, or inequality, passive kindness may manifest as silence or inaction. While we may tell ourselves that we are being kind by not rocking the boat or causing discomfort, our passivity allows harmful systems and behaviors to continue unchallenged. In this way, passive kindness can contribute to the perpetuation of injustice and inequality on a larger scale. Breaking free from the pattern of passive kindness requires us to cultivate a deeper understanding of what it means to be truly kind. True kindness is not about avoiding conflict, pleasing others, or sacrificing our own needs. Instead, it involves acting with integrity, honesty, and compassion both towards ourselves and others. True kindness requires us to set boundaries, speak up when something is wrong, and prioritize our own well-being while also considering the needs of others. It is about finding a balance between self-care and care for others, and recognizing that sometimes the kindest thing we can do is to say no, set a boundary, or have a difficult conversation. One of the key steps in overcoming passive kindness is learning to assert ourselves and set healthy boundaries. This involves recognizing and honoring our own needs, desires, and values and being willing to communicate them to others. Setting boundaries does not mean being unkind or selfish, rather. is an essential part of maintaining healthy relationships and ensuring our own well-being. When we set boundaries, we teach others how we wish to be treated and create a foundation of mutual respect and understanding. This, in turn, allows us to engage in acts of kindness that are genuine and sustainable, rather than driven by obligation or fear. Another important aspect of overcoming passive kindness is developing the courage to engage in honest and open communication. This means being willing to have difficult conversations, address conflicts directly, and express our true feelings and concerns. While this may be uncomfortable at times, it is essential for building authentic and healthy relationships. Honest communication allows us to address issues as they arise, rather than letting them fester and grow into larger problems. It also fosters a sense of trust and respect, as others learn that they can rely on us to be truthful and transparent in our interactions. Additionally, overcoming passive kindness requires us to cultivate a sense of self-worth and self-compassion. This involves recognizing that our own needs, desires, and boundaries are just as important as those of others, and that we deserve to be treated with kindness and respect. Self-compassion allows us to give ourselves permission to prioritize our own well-being, even when it means saying no or disappointing others. It also helps us to let go of the fear of judgment or rejection and to act in ways that are true to ourselves, rather than trying to please others or conform to societal expectations. Finally, overcoming the danger of passive kindness involves shifting our mindset from one of passivity to one of active and empowered kindness. Active kindness is about making conscious choices to act with integrity, compassion, and authenticity in all aspects of our lives. It involves being proactive in addressing issues, setting boundaries, and taking care of our own needs, while also being considerate and compassionate towards others. Active kindness is not about avoiding conflict or discomfort, but about engaging with the world in a way that is true to ourselves and our values. By embracing active kindness, we can create a more authentic, fulfilling, and harmonious life for ourselves and those around us. While passive kindness may seem harmless or even virtuous, it carries with it significant dangers that can have negative consequences for ourselves and others. It can enable harmful behaviors, foster resentment, undermine our self-worth, create a false sense of harmony, and contribute to broader societal issues. To overcome these dangers, we must cultivate true kindness, which involves setting boundaries, engaging in honest communication, prioritizing our own well-being, and acting with integrity and compassion. By doing so, we can create a more authentic and empowered life and contribute to a more just and compassionate world. Creating conscious change is a powerful and deliberate process that requires intentionality, awareness, and a deep understanding of the forces that shape our lives and the world around us. Unlike change that occurs by accident or through external pressures, conscious change is about taking proactive control of our lives and making deliberate choices that align with our true desires, values, and goals. This process involves recognizing the need for change, understanding the factors that drive it, and actively participating in the transformation that follows. It is a journey of self-discovery, growth, and empowerment that requires both courage and commitment. The first step in creating conscious change is developing an awareness of the areas in our lives that need transformation. This requires honest self-reflection and a willingness to examine the aspects of our lives that may no longer serve us or align with our true selves. Whether it's a toxic relationship, an unfulfilling job, a destructive habit, or a limiting belief, identifying the areas where change is needed is the foundation of the process. This awareness often comes from a sense of discomfort, dissatisfaction, or a feeling that something is missing. It may also arise from external circumstances that challenge our current way of being, forcing us to confront the reality that something needs to shift. Once we have identified the need for change, the next step is to understand the underlying causes and motivations behind our current circumstances. This involves looking beyond the surface-level symptoms and delving into the deeper patterns, beliefs, and emotions that have contributed to the situation. For example, if we find ourselves in a series of unfulfilling jobs, we might explore the underlying beliefs about our worthiness, capabilities, or what we deserve in life. If we are stuck in a cycle of unhealthy relationships, We might examine our patterns of attachment, self-esteem, or fear of loneliness. Understanding the root causes of our current circumstances allows us to address the core issues rather than simply treating the symptoms, leading to more meaningful and lasting change. Creating conscious change also requires us to clarify our intentions and set clear goals for what we want to achieve. This involves envisioning the life we want to create and setting specific, actionable steps to move toward that vision. Our goals should be aligned with our true values and desires, rather than being driven by external pressures or societal expectations. It's important to remember that conscious change is not about forcing ourselves to fit into a predefined mold or achieving success by someone else's standards. Instead, it's about creating a life that reflects our authentic selves and brings us true fulfillment and happiness. In setting our goals, it's also essential to recognize that change is a process that unfolds over time. While it's important to have a clear vision of where we want to go, we must also be patient and compassionate with ourselves as we navigate the journey. Change is rarely linear, and we may encounter setbacks, challenges, or unexpected twists along the way. By approaching the process with an open mind and a willingness to adapt, we can remain resilient and stay focused on our ultimate goal, even when things don't go according to plan. Another key aspect of creating conscious change is taking responsibility for our own growth and transformation. This means recognizing that we are the authors of our own lives and that we have the power to shape our destiny. While external factors may influence our circumstances, it is ultimately our thoughts, beliefs, and actions that determine the direction of our lives. Taking responsibility involves letting go of blame, excuses, or victim mentality, and instead embracing our own agency and power. It means acknowledging that we have the ability to create the change we desire, and that we are not helpless or at the mercy of external forces. In taking responsibility, it's also important to recognize the role that our thoughts and beliefs play in shaping our reality. Our thoughts are incredibly powerful, and they can either support or hinder our efforts to create change. Limiting beliefs, negative self-talk, or fear-based thinking can create barriers to change and keep us stuck in old patterns. On the other hand, cultivating a positive and empowering mindset can open up new possibilities and help us to overcome obstacles. This involves becoming aware of our thoughts and beliefs, challenging those that no longer serve us, and replacing them with more supportive and empowering ones. Creating conscious change also requires us to take consistent and deliberate action toward our goals. While intention and mindset are important, they must be accompanied by tangible action if we are to bring about real change. This means taking the steps necessary to move closer to our vision, even if they are small or incremental. It also means being willing to take risks, step out of our comfort zones, and embrace the uncertainty that often accompanies change. Taking action can be challenging, especially when it requires us to confront our fears, let go of the familiar, or navigate uncharted territory. However, it is through action that we bring our intentions to life and create the change we desire. As we take action, it's important to remain flexible and open to the possibility of new opportunities or pathways that may arise. Sometimes the process of creating conscious change leads us in unexpected directions or reveals new insights that prompt us to adjust our goals or approach. By staying open and adaptable, we can take advantage of these opportunities and continue to evolve in ways that align with our true selves. This flexibility also allows us to navigate challenges or setbacks with greater ease, as we are better able to adjust our course and keep moving forward. Another crucial aspect of creating conscious change is cultivating a strong support system. Change can be challenging, and having the support of others can make a significant difference in our ability to stay motivated, overcome obstacles, and achieve our goals. This support can come in many forms, including friends, family, mentors, coaches, or like-minded individuals who share our values and vision. Surrounding ourselves with positive and supportive people can help us stay focused on our goals, provide encouragement during difficult times, and offer valuable insights or perspectives that we may not have considered. In addition to external support, it's also important to cultivate self-support through practices that nurture our well-being and resilience. This might include mindfulness, meditation, journaling, exercise, or other practices that help us stay grounded, centered, and connected to our inner wisdom. Self-care is an essential component of creating conscious change, as it ensures that we have the energy, clarity, and emotional resilience needed to navigate the journey. By prioritizing our well-being, we create a strong foundation from which to pursue our goals and handle the challenges that may arise. Finally, creating conscious change requires a deep commitment to the process. Change is not always easy, and it often requires sustained effort, perseverance, and a willingness to face our fears and discomfort. However, the rewards of creating conscious change are profound, as it allows us to live a life that is more authentic, fulfilling, and aligned with our true selves. This commitment involves staying true to our vision, even when the path is difficult or uncertain, and continuing to take action toward our goals, even when progress seems slow. It also means being patient and compassionate with ourselves, recognizing that change is a journey, not a destination. Creating conscious change is a powerful and transformative process that requires intentionality, awareness, responsibility, and action. It involves recognizing the need for change, understanding the factors that drive it, setting clear and aligned goals, and taking consistent steps toward those goals. It also requires a positive and empowering mindset, a strong support system, and a deep commitment to the process. By embracing the principles of conscious change, we can take control of our lives, overcome obstacles, and create a reality that reflects our true values, desires, and potential. Empowerment through truth is the realization that true power and freedom come from embracing, understanding, and living in alignment with the truth, both the truth of who we are and the truth of the world around us. In a society where illusions, half-truths, and deceptions often overshadow reality, discovering and living by the truth can be a profound and transformative act. It requires courage, self-awareness, and a commitment to integrity. The journey to empowerment through truth is not always easy, as it often involves facing uncomfortable realities and letting go of comforting illusions. However, it is through this process that we gain the clarity, strength, and confidence to live authentically and purposefully. The first step toward empowerment through truth is self-discovery. This involves peeling back the layers of conditioning, societal expectations, and external influences to uncover the core of who we truly are. From a young age, we are often shaped by the beliefs, values, and expectations of others, whether they come from our families, schools, cultures, or societies. Over time, these influences can cloud our understanding of ourselves, leading us to adopt identities, behaviors, and life paths that may not truly resonate with our inner selves. Self-discovery is the process of stripping away these external layers to reveal the essence of who we are, our true desires, values, strengths, and purpose. This journey of self-discovery requires a willingness to look within and confront the truths that lie beneath the surface. It means asking ourselves difficult questions. What do I truly want out of life? What are my core values? What are the beliefs that drive my actions? Where have I been conforming to others' expectations rather than following my own path? This process can be challenging, as it often requires us to face parts of ourselves that we may have ignored, suppressed, or denied. However, it is only by confronting these truths that we can begin to live in alignment with who we truly are. Empowerment through truth also involves recognizing and challenging the falsehoods that we have accepted as reality. These falsehoods can take many forms, from limiting beliefs about ourselves and our capabilities to societal narratives that dictate what is possible or acceptable. For example, we may have internalized beliefs that we are not good enough, that we don't deserve success, or that we must follow a certain path to be happy or fulfilled. These beliefs, often rooted in fear or insecurity, can hold us back from pursuing our true potential and living authentically. By questioning these beliefs and replacing them with more empowering truths, we can free ourselves from the constraints that have been imposed on us and step into our true power. In addition to self-discovery, empowerment through truth requires us to develop a deep sense of integrity and alignment with our values. This means living in a way that is consistent with our beliefs and principles, even when it is difficult or inconvenient. Integrity involves being honest with ourselves and others, making decisions based on our true values rather than external pressures, and standing up for what we believe in, even in the face of opposition. When we live with integrity, we create a solid foundation of trust and respect both for ourselves and from others. This trust is essential for building authentic relationships, making meaningful contributions, and living a life of purpose and fulfillment. Living with integrity also means being willing to confront uncomfortable truths, both within ourselves and in the world around us. This can be particularly challenging in a society that often rewards conformity, superficiality, and avoidance of difficult issues. However, it is through confronting these truths that we can bring about meaningful change, both in our own lives and in the broader world. Whether it's acknowledging our own shortcomings, speaking out against injustice, or challenging harmful societal norms, the courage to face and speak the truth is a powerful act of empowerment. Another key aspect of empowerment through truth is the recognition that truth is not always static or absolute. While there are fundamental truths that remain constant, our understanding of truth can evolve as we grow, learn, and gain new perspectives. This means that the process of seeking truth is ongoing and requires an open mind, a willingness to question our assumptions, and a readiness to embrace new insights. It also involves recognizing that truth can be multifaceted and that different perspectives can offer valuable insights into the complexities of reality. By approaching truth with humility and curiosity, we can continue to expand our understanding and deepen our empowerment. Empowerment through truth also involves cultivating the courage to express our truth, even when it is uncomfortable or unpopular. Speaking our truth can be challenging, especially in situations where it may go against the grain or provoke resistance from others. However, it is through the expression of our truth that we assert our authenticity, build trust, and create meaningful connections. This does not mean imposing our views on others or being rigid in our beliefs. Rather, it involves sharing our perspectives with honesty and respect while also being open to dialogue and differing viewpoints. When we express our truth with clarity and compassion, we not only empower ourselves but also contribute to a culture of honesty and integrity in our relationships and communities. In the pursuit of empowerment through truth, it is also essential to develop discernment, the ability to distinguish between what is true and what is false, both within ourselves and in the world around us. In an age of information overload, where misinformation and manipulation are rampant, discernment is a critical skill. It involves critically evaluating the information we receive, questioning the sources of our beliefs, and being mindful of the biases and agendas that may influence our perceptions. Discernment also requires us to be honest with ourselves about our own blind spots, prejudices, and fears that may cloud our judgment. By cultivating discernment, we can navigate the complexities of the world with greater clarity and make decisions that are aligned with our true values and intentions. Empowerment through truth ultimately leads to a sense of inner peace and freedom. When we live in alignment with our truth, we are no longer bound by the expectations, judgments, or opinions of others. We are free to pursue our own path, make decisions that are true to ourselves, and live a life that is meaningful and fulfilling. This sense of freedom is not about escaping from reality, but rather about embracing it, fully acknowledging both the beauty and the challenges of life, and making choices that reflect our deepest values and desires. In this state of empowerment, we are able to face life's challenges with resilience and grace, knowing that we are grounded in the truth of who we are and what we stand for. Furthermore, empowerment through truth has a ripple effect that extends beyond the individual. When we live in alignment with our truth, we inspire others to do the same. Our authenticity, integrity, and courage become a source of inspiration and empowerment for those around us. We create a positive impact on our relationships, communities, and the broader world by contributing to a culture of honesty, integrity, and respect. In this way, the pursuit of truth becomes not only a personal journey, but also a collective one that has the potential to bring about meaningful change and transformation in the world. Empowerment through truth is a profound and transformative process that involves self-discovery, integrity, courage, discernment, and the expression of our authentic selves. It is about living in alignment with our true values and beliefs, challenging falsehoods, and embracing the complexities of reality with an open mind and heart. By pursuing truth and living in accordance with it, we gain the clarity, strength, and freedom to create a life that is meaningful, fulfilling, and true to who we are. Moreover, by embodying the truth, we inspire others to do the same, contributing to a world that is more honest, just, and empowered. In conclusion, the journey toward empowerment through truth is both a personal and collective endeavor. It is a profound process of uncovering and embracing the core of who we are, challenging the illusions and falsehoods that shape our perceptions, and living in alignment with our deepest values and beliefs. This journey demands courage, integrity, and self-awareness, as it requires us to confront uncomfortable realities, question ingrained assumptions, and take deliberate actions towards our true aspirations. Embracing the truth empowers us to break free from the constraints of societal expectations, limiting beliefs, and superficial judgments, allowing us to live authentically and purposefully. It fosters a deep sense of self-respect, inner peace, and freedom, enabling us to navigate life's challenges with resilience and grace. Moreover, when we live our truth, we inspire and uplift those around us, creating a ripple effect that promotes a culture of honesty, integrity, and empowerment. Ultimately, empowerment through truth is about reclaiming our power and potential, not only for ourselves but for the betterment of the world. It is about creating a life that reflects our genuine selves, making choices that align with our values, and contributing to a more just and compassionate society. By embracing the truth and living in accordance with it, we embark on a transformative journey that leads to a more authentic, fulfilling, and empowered existence for ourselves and for those we touch along the way.